Hello, everyone. Today I wanted to talk to you about conveniences I had to give up when I moved to Ireland from the United States. Of course, this is my own experience. This is from leaving California. So other parts of the States might be quite similar anyway, but just this is my experience. If anybody's moving here, these are the things to be prepared for. As I'm talking, we're going to be driving from Connacht down to Cork. I thought it was a lovely day for a beautiful video. It's a nice crisp October morning, so I thought this would be perfect. So the first thing I had to give up was garbage disposals. It's amazing how much you'll miss this when you don't have it. With Irish homes, you would have a separate bin or a little trash can that would sit on the counter, and you would put all the extra food from off your plate into this. You might ask, so doesn't this stink up your kitchen? And you would be absolutely correct. So it makes an extra step when it goes to dishes at the end of the evening, and I just really miss garbage disposals. The other thing I was kind of surprised by is there are no screens on the windows. So especially when it's warm outside, or even when it's a nice day and you want to have your window open, it means you're inviting all the little bees and the flies and all the little critters right into your home. So that's another thing that I found kind of surprising. Parking is another one. If you go somewhere, you're not always guaranteed, even if you have a doctor's appointment, dentist appointment, if you're trying to go to a certain store, you're not always guaranteed that you'll find a good place to park. So a lot of the times that's something that has to be decided a little bit beforehand. You might, if you have an appointment, have to put aside a little extra time in the beginning to make sure that you have a place to park when you get there. The other one there are no 24-hour stores here, or at least they're very few and far between. I know some places like Tesco, or in some specific places, they would have 24-hour opening hours. But this can be kind of hard to find. So in the evenings after probably about 9-10 o'clock, pretty much everything shuts down, even a lot of gas stations and whatnot. So it just definitely makes having to plan a lot of things in advance. The other thing, and this is probably a good thing, is that there are much, much fewer drive-thrus. Now, this doesn't mean that there aren't any. There is still McDonald's, there's still a few other places. I've often found that even places that back home would always be a drive-thru wouldn't always be a drive-thru here in Ireland. Again, maybe not the worst thing in the world, kind of helps you cut those naughty late night habits, but it's just another thing to adjust to. Finding a job can be a little bit trickier. My experience back home is that if the job is advertised, you would apply for it, and you would hear back within a few days whether they want to interview you or not, and the interview would happen fairly quickly. You would hear back fairly quickly whether you had the job. You could start fairly quickly. Here the process is a little bit slower. There's just more of a waiting period in between all the steps, so just plan for that in advance. They are also a little bit more by the book here, so you have to have more specific qualifications, more specific work experience. So finding a job just can be that little bit more tricky and take that little bit more time. The other thing is that there is no really one-stop shop here. Surprisingly, I really quite miss Walmart from time to time, that you can just go to one place and find absolutely everything you need. If there's something specific that you're looking for, a lot of the times you have to go to a specific type of store, which might be a little bit farther away from the town that you're in. So that just, again, takes a little bit more planning in advance. Similarly, Amazon is not as available as it is in the States. There's fewer access to products, let's say. There is the Amazon UK. I know there's a German version of Amazon. So it's not that there isn't Amazon, but it just might be that not everywhere ships to Ireland, or you might not be able to find everything that you're looking for. It's a little bit more limited. It's a little bit more pricey, but it is still there. It is still an option, just not to the same level that it is in the States. Another convenience is a lot of times if you buy something from the store, there are very strict return policies. I know back home, at least, when even after you've bought something and you've even opened it, even used some of it, a lot of places will still return it. Here, if it is any way opened or tampered with, they will not return it. I've even purchased something that, because it needed to be somewhat temperature controlled, and because they said they couldn't guarantee that while it was in my possession that it was under this same restriction or guideline, that they were unable to return it. So just bear that in mind if you do come out this way, that it's a little bit more of a commitment if you do purchase something. Another convenience that I certainly miss, and again, this is coming from California and the western states, that we had very wide roads, so there was never a problem with free flowing traffic. Of course, there would be traffic, but never to do with just not enough room on the roadway. Here it's a little bit of a different story. So a lot of the times, I think the roads were maybe built back when it was one car per household, whereas nowadays it's certainly two. So a lot of the cars are parked on the streets, and the roads aren't quite big enough to accommodate this. There are other conveniences that I certainly do miss about living in California or in America in general, but I do have to say there is a fantastic quality of life here in Ireland. There's just things to be aware of. There's just adjustments that need to be made when you do come out here, and certainly there's much more than what was covered in this video, but I would never recommend that somebody not move here because of those things. I would always recommend anybody move here. It's a wonderful place to live. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful.